All right. Can people hear me pretty good? Do one of those thumbs up things if you can hear me. All right. Thumbs up. Dang. Icy's crashing into something.
Sorry, I'm running through all these doors. I'm trying to get back to my office. All right. Hello, everyone, and welcome to episode 2 of JASMY Samurai Interviews featuring JASMY Samurai. You might know him as Chionism from Reddit. How are you doing?
Hello, everybody.
All right. So, let's see. What's today? Happy Monday night. I hope everybody had a great Monday. So, let's just hop right into it. What do you do professionally, and what are your hobbies?
All right. So I am an overqualified garden center manager in a little town in Texas. I actually went to school to be a physical therapist, and that didn't exactly pan out. Um, so I got my undergraduate in biology at UT here in Austin, and then at the same time, like I met my now ex-wife, um, and had some kids, and decided, you know what, physical therapy school is probably not going to happen. Um, but I did some cool stuff along the way. I used my biology degree a little bit. I met a guy who became a business partner, and we did stuff with aquaponics, which is hydroponics, growing plants without soil, and mixed with aquaculture, which is raising fish. So we it's all in an enclosed system, fish and plants, and they all help each other out. It was really cool stuff. Um, but again, once my kids came along, like that was back burner. I had a job and kind of went into management and just did that. They pay me decent, so I do enjoy it though. I love the garden center, and that is what I do. But I kind of got some hobbies along the way, and one of them was JASMY. Um, I started researching JASMY, and that was kind of my hobby for a good chunk of time, a good year. Um, Along the way, I kind of disappeared, and that was when like my marriage kind of fell apart, and then I got some new hobbies. I still definitely check up on JASMY. Definitely trying to be a part of the community. But now I love playing video games. Always played video games and didn't have much time lately, but with the kids. But now my son is getting into video games, so we play Fortnite. Like every little boy loves Fortnite, and I'm also learning to play the violin to be a fiddle player in my buddy's band.
It sounds like you've been living a lot of life. That's a lot. Oh, that's cool. A lot of people, they're just like stuck on social media. You've been out there. You had a whole relationship, children, making new hobbies, figuring out your career path, like what you like doing with your time, and yeah, it sounds like you've been very busy. And now I understand why you've been kind of more quiet the past like couple years, or like from the earlier times.
Yeah, I'm very tired every day.
Jasmine community is very tired,
Yeah.
especially the OGs. Oh, so how exactly did you discover Jasmy, and what encouraged you to research Jasmy?
Yeah, so I was not into crypto at all, actually. I had some employees that they were getting into stocks and crypto, and they would tell me all these things. They got me on like the Robinhood app when it was cool. And, we were just messing around with a few $100 here and there, nothing big. And, you know, they were telling me, oh, yeah, this and that and this and that. And I was like, well, that's cool. I was like, but it seems really weird. Like, there's no value to all this crypto stuff. I had no idea what all it encompassed. Um, and I remember buying Doge when it was like super low. And I told my buddy, and he was like, oh no, that sucks. Sell it. So I sold my $500 of Doge for $500. And later, you all probably know, it could have been like $100,000 worth. I don't remember exactly how much, but it was a lot. So yes, we had some adventures, but one of my buddies at work, he bought JASMY at 5 cents um, before it jumped up with the Binance, and I think it just got onto Coinbase, and he grabbed some, and then he started looking into it, and he told me about it, and I was like, well, that's actually that kind of sounds pretty cool from what you're telling me. Um, so I started looking into it. I was like, oh wow, you know what? This is kind of cool. I got onto Reddit. I had never been on Reddit before. Got onto Reddit. I was like, let's see what they have to say about Jasmy, and I was just blown away by all the nonsense and crazy batshit stuff that everybody was like spouting, and I was like, none of this makes sense. Um, you know, I went on the what was it, the Jasmy Uncensored Reddit or whatever, and they were literally saying that Lil Bidman was like someone else, so like a spy, and I was like, dude, these guys are all crazy. I was like, okay, I need to find the truth.
I'm actually banned and censored from the Jasmy Token Uncensored platform.
Yeah, yeah, good. That's probably a good thing. Um, but yeah, it was just, I was like, I need to know what the heck is going on here. Um, and then there was like this whole thing with, oh, Jasmy is a scam. It's not even a real coin. They're gonna just, you know, rug pull us. I mean, there's still people saying that. It's a very, very slow rug pull, but they're doing it. Um, but I just wanted to know the truth. And so I started looking into it, and then I was like following kind of some of these people that didn't have just crazy nonsense. Lil Bidman was one of those. So he was, a inspiration to a lot of us, and me included. Um, but yeah, so I just started looking for any kind of signs that this was actually real, and I think I was one of the first to kind of find the Sagan Tosu jersey that had the actual Jasmy logo on the back, and I posted it on Reddit. I'm like, guys, like they wouldn't have this if it wasn't real, right? Like, um, and I remember like little bid man was saying, hey, Chionism, he's got some good stuff, and I was all proud. Um, and but that was kind of what got me into it, was really just finding out what the heck is going on here, because there's some crazy theories out there, and there's no way they're right, and they weren't. They were not right.
We're kind of similar. Before 2021, I was not involved in the blockchain space. I didn't know anything about it. And Jasmy was one of the first things that caught my eye after, like you, a buddy started getting in. He was actually getting into Decentraland Mana, and he was like, "Oh, look, there's like this
Yeah.
metaverse stuff because Decentraland really like kind of like led the bull market last time, and so everyone was talking about that and fell in love with that concept. And I was like, oh my gosh, like we can like own digital spaces now. Like that was what first like attracted me to like crypto was like Decentraland and metaverse. And so I started doing the research of what was available on Coinbase and saw Jasmy in the list of about, maybe like 60 or so back then. And yeah, checked out Reddit, and here we are today. So yeah, it's pretty cool. I
Look
love
at that.
hearing similarities like that.
Yeah.
Well, a lot of time has passed since you were tracking Jasmy on Etherscan from the early days and into the dark times of dilution, which was forced upon us by Mr. Suzuki from Bellwood Enterprises. Could you describe what that was like to the people who weren't there?
Yes. So they were dark times indeed. Um, and I remember.
Sorry
All
about that.
right. No, that's all right. But yeah, I remember um, somewhat recently. I think I was talking to uh, good old Auntie Jasmy. If they're on here, not sure. Um, but it was like getting kicked in the nuts repeatedly, just day after day, down, 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 more down. Um, I had a very in-depth look at it because I was following the Etherscan movements, and again, I started doing Etherscan because these people were coming out with all these crazy crackhead theories. Um, they were like, "Oh yeah, look at this. They've got all their 10 million PDLs active because they've dumped these coins." And I was like, nah, that doesn't make sense. Um, I mean, it'd be great if they were right, but they weren't. They were not right. Um, so I started looking into it. I taught myself how to navigate Etherscan on my phone because I didn't even have a laptop. um, and I was just going through Etherscan and every morning and be like, okay, well, they sent another 100 million or 200 million. And then I found like, oh, yeah, it was every day at this time around like 5 a.m. my time. So it was, in the evening in Japan and of course now, like, I don't even know who was in charge of actually the actual act of sending those tokens, whether it was Jasmy in Japan or was it somebody else, and the market makers. I don't know who had control over that, but every day at the same time, it was like, oh, there it goes, there it goes. So I was just keeping everybody up to date and telling the facts and not all this crazy crap. Um, and I do have a good story where I single handedly made Jasmy pump 5 to 10%, and then consequently dump back to exactly where it started. Um, because there was, towards the beginning of all this dilution, they were, like I said, every day, 100 million, 100 million, whatever it was. And then we hit this point where a lot of us kind of thought, oh, they were going to stop at this point. It was like 25 billion or whatever it was. It was like, oh, you know what? We had these theories that they're going to stop here because of their roadmap and whatever we thought. Um, so we got to that point, and for 2 days, like they stopped. There was no dilution. It was like there was no coins sent out, and I was like, oh my god. So I posted on Reddit. I was like, not saying anything yet, but this is not characteristic of what's been happening. They've gone like 48 hours. Usually it was like every 24, not or not even, they were dumping something. And I posted that, and within like half an hour, like I saw the price just start bumping up, bumping up. And again, I don't know this is because of me. I've never even told this story before because I'm not convinced it was me. Um, but it is a funny coincidence if it was. But it bumps up, and it went up like 8% or something. And then, of course, more coins get pushed out and more dilution. And then I put a new post up, and I was like, all right. And it was like 20 minutes after my initial post, or I don't know, an hour, something. And I was like, okay, yep, I was wrong. And then immediately the price went right back down to where it started. And I was like, okay, well, that may have been my fault. Um, but after that, I just kept laying it out there. I was like, okay, Etherscan movement here, here, here. Luckily, Dip Metaverse, he took over for me, and he did it in a much better way, smarter way, easier way. I was spending way too much time going through Etherscan. He had it all programmed, and it told him exactly what was put out. And especially when he took over, like they started making like crazy amount of wallets. Um, it was way too much for me to check every day. Like it started off, it was maybe a dozen wallets that I would check, and at some point they did some. It was some crazy thing where they made like 200 wallets from one, and they were just using those to export tokens. It was nuts. And that's about the time when I just gave up. But that is my Etherscan story.
Yeah, the early day dramas, man. It sucked, but hey, we made it through, and we're at 99% circulating supply, and what we got 700 million left, so which is only 0.7%.
Yeah.
What do you think they're gonna do with that? Do you think that they're just gonna think they're gonna drop it in a few lump sums? You think they're gonna kind of like trickle it out like after a certain date, like maybe 2025, 2026, or do you think when do you think they'll start releasing the final 700 million?
So I'm pretty sure they're holding those to till they reach like a certain either price milestone or KPIs, something. I mean, they were supposed to hold like 1.2 billion for incentive. It was 5%. I guess it'd been yeah. This I think it was 5% for incentive for them. Um, but even that started getting pushed out. Um, obviously business plans change. That's perfectly fine. They, I think they're gonna wait, and I'm not too worried about it. 700 million at this point is not going to do anything to us. We've seen, just billions and billions from, put in, and since we're so diluted already, that last little bit is not going to hurt us. Like percentage wise, like it's not going to do anything. Um, so I'm definitely not worried about it. I don't know when they plan to do it, but I would guess it's going to be a little while. I think they're going to kind of wait till they hit some milestones, and then they'll cash out with it.
That makes sense. Just a quick reminder to everybody, if you could please repost the space, help get people in here. And Jasmy AI, I see you requested to speak. I'm not ignoring you, bro. I just got the time scheduled for Jasmy Samurai. Maybe at the end, if he's up for it, we can have a open panel if you want to come on and ask questions. But we'll get there at the end. Mark Emmert, I see you requested, but I don't know who you are, and you don't have a profile picture, so you know. Sorry, bro. I don't know.
Just put a Jasmy thing. It's fine.
Yeah,
We
yeah.
all have it.
Put a Jasmy coin on your profile. If I get up here, come on. so, so after all this time, what is your favorite Jasmy partnership?
Man, so my favorite, I think, did Little Big Man say, what was it? Cyber Trust.
Yeah, I think you said like
Yeah,
kind of cheated, but
yeah. So that one's an awesome one, but I'm gonna go with Wits
ooh, that's a
because
good one. That's an old one too. Old
yeah,
enough.
it's an old one and a goodie, an oldie but a goodie. Just because Wits is, you know, just like Kunitaki Ando, who actually is on the Wits board. They are spread all over. Like they have so much influence everywhere. I think if Jasmy can prove itself, get to a point where like Wit says, okay, you know what, we're gonna recommend you and start pushing to implement you with all of our partners, like that is huge. Like that will be the mass adoption that we really need at some point, to really be successful and push to these prices that everybody wants. We need the mass adoption, and Cybertrust can get that too. But Wits is another one that could be huge, um, just because of all of their partnerships. So it's partnerships of partnership, but Kunitaki Ando is kind of pulling the strings. He's the mastermind, and I think it could just get us everywhere. And
And those that includes Toyota, and some other vehicles.
yep, yep, it sure does. And Toyota was up there too on my. Well, I was thinking about this. You know, I really think Jasmy would fit well with autonomous taxis. Um, you say, okay, I want to go home. I'll tell you where my home is, but that's not recorded. That's my private data. They don't know that me, Jasmy Samurai, lives at this address. Um, but they take me home because they get that information. They get that data. Um, so I think there is definitely something there, and Toyota would be a cool partnership. Really, any autonomous vehicle makers, whether it's like the Sony, Honda. I mean, I don't even think they have any plans for something, but they could. They're making, EV and autonomous vehicles. They could do autonomous taxis. But any of the people that are working in those smart cities, it could be a market where that we expand into for sure.
And if anybody hasn't reviewed the patents, that's actually in the second patent. When I say second, the second one that was first published, or the second one that was published, which was the one regarding their consensus mechanism. Uh, that one has a lot of autonomous vehicle technology, ride sharing technology, like riding, sharing a cab with someone that has similar interests as you, like favorite sports teams, favorite. Oh, you both like to knit or something, like, like it's just whatever your hobbies are. It'll try to hook you up with people and have rides and experiences with people that share your interests.
Nice. Yeah, definitely. Wits is kind of, and honestly, like I got into JASMY because I was like, oh man, they have all these connections. Like being from Sony, like these guys have connections. And then I didn't even know like Kunitake Ando. He's everywhere, man. Uh,
Really.
yeah. So I think the connections are crazy. I think if they get it down, I think they could do it. They could have the adoption that we all want to see.
Well, on that note, what are your expectations for 2026? Like when it comes to trying to meet the KPIs and price.
Yeah, so man, my expectations, I don't even know if I have expectations. Jasmine is crazy. Crypto is crazy. Um we need a lot of good things to happen, but They could they could happen and then some. Um so like my expectations is anywhere from in 2026 or early 2027, anywhere from 10 cents to $10. I don't know. It's gonna be a wild ride. uh, Again, if we see that adoption, if we see kind of things in the white paper that come to fruition, like we could $10 is not out of the question. It's crazy. It's absolutely crazy, but it's not impossible. But heck, we might only get up to 10 cents. We might stay at 2. That's possible as well. I've given up with expectations and predictions. Um, if I had to give one, I'd say like by end of 2026, I'll say $1.25 because I think these people are gonna do it. Um, but it could be anywhere, man. It's so There's so many roadblocks, there's hurdles to tackle, like there's a lot that has to happen. Um, and it could though. Absolutely could. Um, but
I
I
think
just don't
if
know.
Japanese gotten this far to the point where they have their own layer one and layer two that has also partnered with other entities, most recent being 10, which we're going to get into probably in about 10 or 15 minutes.
Yeah.
Um, I think if they can get this far, I don't see why we can't get to $1. Like to
Yeah.
me to me there's no reason. I mean, that's a $50 billion market cap. Cardano, some people like Cardano. I mean, I don't care about Cardano. I've never used it. I don't know if it's going to be around. I mean, that was like 90 that peaked at 90 billion market cap last cycle.
Yeah.
So I mean, for us that would be closer to 2. That'd be like $1.80 or whatever.
Yeah.
So I don't see why a dollar. I don't. A dollar should definitely happen, in my opinion.
And heck, we could like blow up as a meme coin and just get hit $5. Who knows?
Yeah, you get the Moon Boys. Once the Moon Boys get on the train, that helps. I mean, because we already have. I've always said that Jasmy's always been designed to be pumped by institutions, not by crypto bros at first, because
Yeah.
everybody sees that all the enterprises are going to Jasmy for privacy and security and for legal compliance. then it's just going to start. Once people realize that, then it's just going to be a mass effect, I think.
Yep. No, I totally agree. Totally agree. And if you've ever done the math for the KPIs and how they think the price could be, you know, determined by the price of data, personal data, and by how many users they have, and they have a multiplier in there. Like, it gets astronomical whenever you factor in um, lockups. So if there is a mechanism where companies lock up a substantial amount of coins and say we have only 25 billion, like half of our current um, circulating amount, like that instantly doubles us, and then any growth is doubled. Um, the sky's the limit. I don't think it necessarily will happen, but it is absolutely 100% possible in a small amount. Like,
And I
it's
think people are going
possible.
to be losing their minds because they're not going to be able to track it in the traditional Etherscan way that we did in the past.
Exactly. Yeah.
Well, that kind of also leads us into, well, no, before we go in there, how about we cover your research? So you recently researched the new Japanese law that allows venture capitalists to invest in crypto. Could you please share what you've learned?
Yes. So another one where you know there have been some people kind of posting some things. Right when the bill was proposed, they were like, "Oh yeah, they can all buy crypto right now." And I'm like, "Wait, no, no, it's not exactly true." So I looked into Japanese law, um, and kind of found the process and what has to happen. And so I'll go into detail now. So that bill is an amendment to some laws that they already have that restricts VCs. They can only, buy certain types of, um, stocks or whatever, um, for companies that they want to invest in. Um, this amendment will open up cryptocurrency to the possibility for VCs to invest in a company. So, these venture companies will be able to buy crypto and hold it. And also, Japan just changed their tax laws that they do not have to pay unrealized gains, which was crazy. You know, that held back probably tons of investors in Japan, big companies and, private investors, just, normal people, because paying on unrealized gains kind of sucks. Like, you'd have to sell to pay your taxes. Um, so I think there's a lot of new money that will come from Japan. It's one of the richest richest nations in the world. So there's going to be a lot of new money because of the tax law change, because of this law change. But we're not there yet. So what has happened so far is what they call the cabinet in Japan has proposed this bill. It then went to what they call the House of Representatives, and it has passed there. But it now still has one last kind of roadblock. It goes to what they call the House of Counselors. It will go there. They discuss it in these committees. So that's probably what is happening right now. So it passed in the House of Representatives. It has gone to a committee, and these committees are discussing it. These are experts, supposed experts. They will discuss it, and then a committee head will bring that to another session where they will discuss it, what they've talked about in the previous committee. They'll discuss it with the actual, House of Counselors. They'll say, okay, this is what we found, and this is this bill that is proposed, and they will vote on it then. So I have not been able to find like actual like timelines or like, okay, is this on the docket for today? I have not been able to find anything. Um, so I don't know exactly when it'll happen, but I know that their session ends at the end of June, I believe, June or July. Um, so it should be happening pretty soon. Once it is passed in the House of Counselors, then it's pretty much a done deal. It goes back to the cabinet, which proposed the bill, so they will most likely just pass it on through, and then it gets signed by the emperor, which is mostly just a formality. So really, the biggest thing is getting past this House of Counselors, and then we're golden. Then once it's signed off on, there is this period of about 30 days where they communicate it out to the Japanese public. They say, hey, this law is happening. It will start at this date. They will have an actual date associated with it when it will go into actual effect. Um, so once we hear that, then we will know when all this money is going to, hopefully pour in. We saw that big rise in JASMY price on basically just the this amendment being proposed. It wasn't even law. It was just proposed, and that caused a big spike in JASMY price because investors were like, "All right, JASMY or Japanese crypto are gonna have all this new money." They were getting in before the Japan money. Um, Once it's a done deal, I think we're going to see another little bump. People waiting to see it actually be a real thing. Like, okay, this is happening. Before it was kind of like the rumor. It was proposed, but it could fail. Um, Once it's a done deal, I think there's going to be some more people that are like, okay, this is a done deal. We're jumping in before the Japan money. And then there's all the Japan money. So hopefully Japan likes Jasmine.
Well, how much time do you think it might take to get through this next process? And you said the House of Chambers, correct?
Yeah, the House of Counselors. Again, so they should be discussing it now. And I had read something that it's normally like 2 weeks, but it's been longer than 2 weeks, I think. So honestly, it could happen very soon. And again, I think it's by the end of June that their session ends. So by then they should hopefully get through. They can like push it to the next session, which would be, I think, in the fall. But since it was passed in the House of Representatives so early, I think this one, like, they're gonna get to it now. They're gonna do it by the end of June. I think it passes through the House of Counselors, and I think then again, there's a 30-day wait period. Um, but June, July, maybe by the end of July, we might see some of that money coming in.
Well, that's awesome. So I guess as like a safety buffer, I think, by the sounds of what you described, by the end of the year, we should definitely see if it passes the next stage and then it goes through the formal approval process. Definitely sounds like we could have a lot of venture capital investment by the end of the year. which also should line up with Panasonic coming out, because I believe when Panasonic announced the partnership, they said they wanted to push this out like in 6 to 8 months.
Yeah, I feel like there's a quite a few things that are just kind of all coming at the same time, and again, who knows? We could take off.
I certainly hope so.
Me too.
Well, let's get into the most recent partnership. So Junction and Ten just partnered last week. This seems to be a powerful combination of enterprise grade technologies. Ten was formerly known as Obscura and is developed by the same people from R3 Corda, which is another enterprise grade blockchain. Ten is encrypting Ethereum into a layer two, amplifying its transaction speed and security with 100% EVM. Do you think this is going to be a Solana killer? And I ask this because in previous cycles, people floated the idea of Ethereum killers, but that narrative seems to have died and transformed into threatening other ETH competitive layer ones, with Solana being the lead challenger. Remember, JASMY is not an ETH competitor, it's an ETH cooperator. And 10 is an ETH cooperator because it's a layer two on top of Ethereum. So, what do you think about that?
Yeah, and I mean there will always be disruptors. You know, there's always going to be people threatening the previously established institutions, and I mean it could be. And obviously nobody took out Ethereum. I just checked it a little while ago. They went up 20% today. They had a big day. Um, Ethereum is doing good. They've got, I think I was just reading about some upgrades they got coming up, and so they're still rocking. Nobody really took them out, but a Solana, like, yeah, they could easily be a new, you know, number three blockchain. And yeah, there is always room for new things to come along. Um, I think that's really in everything, in every business, not just crypto and blockchain. Um, but yeah, I'm kind of excited. I get excited about like all the AI and all the new stuff coming out, and it's gonna be a wild ride. Um, 10 is kind of very similar and complementary to like a Jasmy. They're partners with Junction, which you got to separate Junction and Jasmy, Junction and Jasmy. Um, but obviously, Junction and Jasmy are very interconnected. Um, but yeah, so Junction, we don't know everything about, but they've got a lot of stuff going on and some cool stuff. And 10 definitely, I think it's going to be a very interesting partnership. 10 by themselves, they've got lots of branches. They've got gaming and AI, and they're based off of privacy and anonymity. um
Dark pools.
yes, dark pools. They got
Which
it all.
I don't understand. So a dark pool. It's kind of it's used in TradFi on the stock market, and it allows it allows organizations and to basically not reveal what their liquidation price is. So it's placing your bets with privacy. So imagine like the exchange can't manipulate and try to. If you don't know what MEV is, I'll talk about it soon. But they can't. They're not going to be able to mess with the transactions to extract value out of users and exchanges. They won't be able to see what the liquidation price is, so they can't they can't try to they can't try to liquidate people like they're used to.
Yeah, which is good. Like there needs to be. there needs to be some further protection, whether it's legislation or anything, or if it's 10, just helping some of these guys, because I feel like there's a lot of people getting taken advantage of, and it's all happening, and everybody's okay with it.
Absolutely, and there's a war on privacy right now because, well, privacy, we they want legal compliance, so that's why Tornado Cash, that got the U.S. government sanctioned code, and that guy just got sentenced,
Yeah.
maybe like 6 years or something like that.
Yeah, it was 4 or 6 or something. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, that sucks. I'm not that's a whole that you could we could debate about that, but obviously the powers that be do not want do not want privacy technology that is not compliant. And Ten's going to do that by being transparent yet private,
Yeah. Yeah.
usually zero knowledge and all that stuff. So, we'll cover some of Ten's technologies. Just we're not going to get too deep. I just wanted to talk about a couple things. But 10 uses trusted execution environments to achieve data confidentiality and computational privacy. I actually spoke about, and that's TEE, trusted execution environments. I talked about that about a year ago on an episode with Brian and Dit Metaverse, and how I thought that this is what JASMY was leaning towards in its patents and their designs for these secure IoT devices. And for some, if you don't know what a trusted execution environment is, I went ahead and I asked Grok because let's just ask the AI of X platform to describe it. So Grok says a TEE, my dear human, is not a place where your suspicious relatives are invited to a family reunion. Rather, it's a secure area of a computer or device where code is executed and data is processed in an isolated private enclave, ensuring it remains invisible or inaccessible to external parties. It's like a digital fortress protecting your sensitive information from the prying eyes of hackers and other nefarious entities. Think of it as a digital panic room for your data. No one gets in without the right credentials. And even if they do, they can't see what's going on inside. Sounds a lot like Jasmine, right?
Hmm.
TEEs are designed with no persistent storage, no shell access, and no network connectivity by default, making it a completely isolated environment with heavily restricted external access. TEEs are used in various applications, and this is the great part because now Grok is saying this, including securing the processing and storage of sensitive data generated by the Internet of Things devices. Boom!
Boom. Yeah.
Boom! They're like the Secret Service agents of the digital world, protecting your data's confidentiality and integrity. So the next time you hear T, don't think of a small garment worn by golfers. Think of a secure digital environment where your data can roam free without fear of being compromised. I love Grok. Grok's hilarious.
Good job, Croc.
All right, we'll cover the next one that I talked about. I've touched on MEV. So 10 is designed to be MEV free, the maximum extractable value. Most crypto bros don't even know about MEV because it's very technical and it's more on the miner and validator side. So here, I asked Grok to explain it again. Maximum extractable value, MEV, my dear human, is a concept in the blockchain world that refers to the art of extracting maximum value from a block production process. It's like a digital gold rush where miners and validators are the prospectors and the blocks are the gold mines. Formerly known as miner extractable value, the term has evolved into maximum extractable value to reflect a broader range of techniques used to extract value from users. It's not just about miners anymore, but also about validators and proof of stake systems and other actors in the blockchain ecosystem. MEV is the invisible tax that these actors can collect from other participants in the cryptocurrency market. It's a bit like a digital pickpocket, but instead of stealing your wallet, they're rearranging and reordering transactions to their advantage. They're the DJs of the blockchain, spinning transactions in a way that maximizes their profits. MEV can be extracted through various methods such as arbitrage, sandwich attacks, and liquidations. It's a complex dance of timing and strategy where the goal is to extract as much value as possible from the blockchain. Basically, the miners and the validators basically stealing away from the users. So I think it's great that 10 is focusing, and we talked about dark pools with private transactions. That way, uh, you can't see what people's liquidation levels are. That way, the the validators can't take advantage of that.
Yeah. So just so I have this right, like, so they're saying, they're MEV free, um, because they have these, encryptions. They have these protocols that, yeah, you can't see these liquidation levels. Um, so it's protecting against that, correct?
Correct. Yes.
Yeah. All right. Yeah. So very good.
So, and then the last, so 10's layer two focuses on confidentiality compared to most layer twos, which focus on scalability. They do this by utilizing their proprietary proof of block inclusion protocol. So that's their special consensus mechanism that they made. This groundbreaking protocol guarantees that 10's confidential rollup achieves consensus within a decentralized 10 network, ensuring both security and transparency while maintaining privacy. So very, very, very obvious, similarities with the trusted execution environment and the privacy focus on privacy. Um, but it's not a JASMY and 10 partnership. Keep in mind it's a Junction and
Hmm.
10 partnership because they've obviously built their own technology. So I don't know if they really need to focus on JASMY personal data lockers directly, maybe indirectly by utilizing Junction for AI services. What do you think about that?
Oh man, there's a lot that I kind of have to look at with that. Um, yeah, I can't even really start to get into it all.
It's hard to analyze things that we don't fully understand. And
Yeah.
the only thing we have is what's available on Junction.io. If you haven't checked out their website, you can go to Junction.io. And you can see what's on the website. None of the links work. Almost every day, I'm checking that Gitbook link to see if they if they connect it. Not yet, not yet. I think, but we do know that Junction is all about decentralized GPU power. Supplying a market and having people own IP. So I'm wondering, like, if people are going to be able to own language models and kind of like earn royalties and stuff, kind of based off of what Haro was talking in that. I think that was that Bitcoin exchange that AMA that he did that text one. Yeah, it's very
Yeah.
see how that's going to work out because if it's a obviously I think they're going to lean more towards Junction's AI services because that's what Junction's all about. So yeah, I personally think that it's mostly going to be Junction's decentralized GPU services to supply power to 10.
Yes, I would agree. Um, and yeah, just they can. I think there's a lot of avenues that they can create good partnerships, and yeah. So Junction provides this awesome GPU network, and 10 provides kind of these protocols for keeping everything encrypted um, and safe, and I think that'll be a hit.
I agree, and as they release more information on Junction, I'm sure we'll start to see more. We'll have more dots to connect.
Yes, I'm trying to get back into it, you guys. Especially this talk tonight. This has been a lot of fun. I haven't really had a lot of Jasmy craziness since the ether scan days, but this has been a lot of fun. Hopefully I'll catch you guys on Reddit. I'll be posting on here on X, and uh, we'll get back into it. We're gonna find some good dirt.
It's like group therapy sessions, you know.
Yeah.
We're not crazy, right? We're not crazy, right?
No, it's happening. JASMY to the moon.
To the moon. Well, we're kind of already at the end. We kind of flew by. So, I mean, if I don't know, would you be comfortable taking questions from the community?
Yeah, definitely.
If
Oh,
anybody wants to pop up, Jasmy AI, I saw you requested earlier. You want to come up? Oh, maybe. How about Simon? Hold on, let me check the comments. Oh, oh my God, Rag Arm's saying some nasty things
yeah.
as usual.
He's been doing that for a while.
Come on, bro. Well, I'm not saying that one. Oh, no worries. Hey, if everybody,
DCA is the way, man.
yeah,
DCA is the way.
DCA, yeah, DCA bros, man. We're, I don't know. I guess the majority of us are DCA bros. I mean, we're the long term,
Yep.
you know, we see the true value in it. Oh yeah, we were talking earlier. There's a couple people on Reddit that sometimes in the comments section you see them comment. They're like, "Yeah, I bought at like 17 cents or 30 cents, and I'm still waiting." Then they
Yeah.
never dollar cost average. I'm like, what are you doing?
I,
Even if
I
you bought now, you could significantly lower your average.
yeah, yeah.
Yeah,
But
great.
I hope they make it one day. I hope they can double their money and just join us in the Jasmy happiness. And look, Lil Bitman's here.
Yo, what's up? Yeah, I saw Maya just hold on. I just sent him. I saw it, but he canceled it. Oh, maybe he doesn't want to speak. Let me send him another invite just in case. Maybe it bugged out. But yeah, a little bit, man. I said if anybody wants, yeah, if you got a question for Jasmine Samurai or Chionism, yeah, or let me invite you up to speak as well. All right.
I'm just wondering if you ever buy more Jasmy, do it now, hurry up and buy more Jasmy. Yeah, man, the veterans, the absolute veterans. Yeah, it's been a nice show, and we've also compiled a lot of all the information in the Discord as well. So feel free to join that, guys. It's like a Wikipedia for Jasmy. Everything's in order. So yeah, hopefully it helped you guys with research and finding things. And it also highlights a lot of the old partnerships that many of us have forgotten about. I think it's time to revisit some of those.
No, I agree. I would love to see some of these old partnerships kind of popping up and creating new things. And yes, if you are not on the Discords, like jump on those. You know, May has an awesome one. They have the one good thing about Discord. I'm a Discord hater. I am sorry, but the good thing about Discord, it is has a lot of information and is very organized. So go on there. You'll be a Jasmy believer in no time for sure.
Yeah, it's getting more and more organized, and I just added the some stuff about 10 on it today. So, yep,
Nice.
it's coming around. Yo, what's up, little bit man?
I'm chilling. What's up, y'all? What's up, Icy? Thank you earlier for helping me.
Yeah, bro, no problem, no problem.
Got my brains.
Oh, you got it. You got an ASM brain?
Yeah.
Hell yeah, dude.
Yeah. How's everybody doing? How's everybody else?
Oh, we're doing good. Doing good.
What's the overall sentiment? Are we
I'm good.
hyped?
Sorry. I've just got a question as well. About the JASMY and Junction. You know how Junction's partnerships haven't said that they're JASMY's partnerships. They've specifically said Junction. So it's definitely two different products. And I think they'll be making their separate partnerships. Also, do you think there's going to be any other kind of branches that they'll be creating, like Junction? You know how Junction was just a bit of a surprise to everybody. Do you think there'll be anything else like that, guys?
I think there's a possibility. Probably not for some time because Junction's probably going to take like at least a solid year, I think, before we see something. We're definitely going. I think we're definitely going to see the secure IoT network from Panasonic before we see people running Junction nodes. So yeah, I think that's going to take some time. Yes, Junction is a separate entity. Hara is the CEO of Junction, but Junction they call it a proprietary blockchain, even though it's a public
No.
permission. It's still
So
their public.
just to get that clear, so he's the CEO of Junction, but he is the CFO of JASMY.
Correct. Yes. So yes, they're separate, but Junction is being built. See, when I was first studying the OP stack, when we learned that they're using the OP stack for JASMY chain, my research was taking me more down like the Optimism superchain route, which is still very cool. Like that's an awesome ecosystem that's being built. But it turns out that they weren't using the OP stack in the way that I originally thought. They were using the OP stack because the OP stack it scales Ethereum, but the OP stack is a modular open source that can scale something else. So it turns out that they actually chose OP stack for its stability, not for its scalability, because JASMY layer 1 is extremely efficient. It's gas free.
Yeah.
It's gas free already. The layer 1 is gas free. So they don't need to scale it like Ethereum needs to be scaled. So they're basically scaling it using stability to basically take advantage of this private gas free layer 1 and taking essence of that and putting it in this public permissionless layer 2 that's scaling a private layer 1, which I've never heard of. So, awesome. um, so now we have a Junction layer 2 that's partnered with a 10 layer 2. Junction is a layer 2 off of JASMY. 10 is a layer 2 off of Ethereum. So now you kind of have like a general architectural idea of like where everybody is sitting and how
Is that how they're going to bridge?
Yes, it's a bridge. Yes.
Okay.
Yeah. Excellent.
See something on Ten's website about privacy on Ethereum blockchain. So is it a sort of private kind of bridge of some sort?
Yes. Everything, it's transparent, yet it's private. It's transparent because it's 100% EVM. You can take your Ethereum dApp and you can immediately go launch it on 10, or you'll be able to, or whatever. You could take Aave, they use Aave as an example. You could take Aave and you could put it on 10 and just make it private. Boom, like that.
Yeah.
Good job, man. Good job. I'm straight.
Yeah, and that's the whole thing around 10 is that privacy, that encryption, but yet it's open, and the ease of getting all these dApps to 10, like anything that works on Ethereum, it works on 10. That's kind of their thing.
The people at 10, they describe it as going from HTTP to HTTPS using the secure encryption.
That's a good way to think about it.
So yeah, it's extremely bullish in my eye because there's a war on privacy right now. Monero, it got delisted from Binance. The the powers that be
Dead cash
will
as well was on fire.
Yes, yeah. That and Tornado Cash and all of that all got, that's not going to be accepted. The powers that be will not let that happen. So I'm sorry to Monero Maxis out there. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
You're not gonna be a part of the new world. I'm sorry. They're not gonna let you
Oh
do it. I'm
man.
sorry. I think Monero is cool. Yeah, it's cool. The privacy technology is awesome, but they're not going to accept it. So, if you want mass adoption, you're going to have to go with a privacy network that's transparent yet private. Something like 10.
Yeah.
But yeah. Well, little bit, man. Did you have anything specific for? Well, you know him as Chionism from. We're all the old school Reddit guys.
Yeah,
OG
well,
Reddit.
obviously, like, what's up, OG, and good to finally hear your voice. Uh, yeah, I went back with Chionism for days. We would just jump off each other's work and just keep on working. So one of my favorite people in the early days to dig with, and that was when I was first joining any community at all and being out there at all. So super cool to get down with you and Dip and Icy and JASMY US and everybody from that original school. But yeah, Chionism, yeah, we went back. You can go look at some of the threads and conversations we had. I still come across them when I'm going back on notes. So big up, and I appreciate you.
Oh, thank you. I actually really appreciate that. And yeah, I talked about you earlier, about the JASMY Uncensored sub on Reddit. My one of my first introductions to Reddit was them accusing you of being, I think it was like Moth or something, one of the mods of the other Reddit, and I was like, this is crazy, man.
Yeah, they accused me of being horror.
All right, yeah, that's
He might not be Hara. He might not work for Jasmine. But he might
yeah,
relate to Hara.
That was
yeah,
really funny to me. And when you get accused of those kind of things on these community forums, it's always funny because at least you know the truth, right?
yeah.
Everyone else can believe whatever they want, but at the very end, I'm sitting there going, "Well, I'm not horror. This guy's either a liar or they got an angle."
I think it's good because it adds some kind of entertainment to the community as well. People start speculating, and it's kind of funny when people talk. It's just something for people to talk about, kind of thing.
I
And
had a good laugh about it too because when I read it, I was just like, "Oh my god! Like, is that how we are on social media? Just jump into conclusions." But yeah, I
Yes.
was
Oh yeah,
entertained.
absolutely.
Yeah, I was entertained. There was actually some pretty funny conversations in the JASMY Token Uncensored before it went completely off handle. Because I think at first it wasn't a JASMY hater club. It was just people who had questions that were outside of the original Reddit, and then
Yeah.
it just went south to the point where I had to just delete it. Because I was even going there looking for some JASMY Uncensored news too. I was just as curious if anybody had anything that nobody else knew as much as anybody else.
Yep, that's exactly why I was there.
Yeah.
Kind of looking for some stuff, and yeah, there was some good information, and but yeah, it was when they were accusing you of being somebody else, and I was like, no. And I think I left probably at the same time you did.
Yeah, at
I'm
that point
surprised they haven't deleted
there
it,
was
but
no reason to be there. There's no debate. There was no trying to understand each other or anything. So I agree. Yeah.
I really don't think I lasted like 3 months on Reddit. I was banned. I got banned within 3 months.
Yeah. You
My
didn't make a
account.
new username? You did.
It's too
Tons of
much
people
effort.
with new usernames.
After I got banned, I looked at reviews, and there's people are like, "It's a dictatorship." Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
all the reviews, and I was like, yeah, I'll just stick to Twitter. But Reddit is really good for anything, any kind of problem solving. There's always something on Reddit for it.
Yeah, you guys don't see what I see in the moderator messages and stuff like that.
Yeah.
I see the worst of the worst. I get people hate me.
Yeah, Icy kind of just he's very real and just lays it out there, and
I don't give a fuck.
people don't like that. But he's right. He's always right.
Yeah, I just pulled up the uncensored. They haven't deleted it yet. There's nothing. The latest post is from a year ago. Stop
Oh
investing in
dang.
JASMY. I can't tell you what to do. After all, I'm a stranger from the internet. But hear me out. If you are one of these people constantly buying the dip of this coin, you should expect to lose everything. If you have money to burn, fine. Blah blah blah. Oh my god. Oh my god.
Hey, I think we're doing pretty good, right, Icy?
Norsk Bavian or whatever. You're an idiot.
No.
Fuck you.
See, Icy just says it. He just says it.
I keep it real.
Yep, it's I'm not disagreeing.
There's definitely a lot of the originals who are offline lately. Like Lord Jasmine.
No, definitely. Yeah, there's been we've lost a lot of good ones along the way for sure, me included. Um, I mean, I'm trying to get back. Hopefully, I'll be back. But yeah, there's been a lot of really good people, good friends that I've
we
made.
lost,
And
we lost one of the older community, the oldest samurai. Like it was like a month or so before the mega pump, and he was just like burned out, and he was like, it was after that. It was after one of those AMAs, and I knew it like sounded horrible, and I was almost like, man, they're trying to like flood the community as a project, like don't sell your Jasmy to Jasmy guys, you know.
yeah.
I felt like a
Man,
few OGs might have tried to sell and grab a dip, and they just completely missed it. And then it was like it seemed like there was some panic
Oh,
posts out. Everybody else needs to get out so they could probably get back in.
Oh,
yeah, that's not going to work, guys. This is going to be pumped by enterprises, so good luck with that. You know.
we
Yeah,
saw a lot
exactly.
of the Discord, man. There's a lot of people who were selling, trying to buy back in at a lower price. But what they found is they were selling on the dip, but the dip would cancel out quicker than it fell. So it'd fall, and then it would just do some god candles out of nowhere. And it did it recently as well, very recently. It fell, and it looked like it was going to keep falling, and then it just turned around, and it actually climbed higher than where it fell from. And there was people moaning about it, but it's just the day traders now, and it's usually the day traders that don't want to do the research to know why this is a real good project to be in.
yeah. And I remember one guy selling. It was something. It was a lot. It was like 9 million Jasmy or something to
9 mil,
for tax
bro, dude.
purposes or
R.I.P.
something, and just then it bounced up and he just got wrecked. I feel bad for that guy. I love you if you're out there.
Yeah, if you're listening, dude, I'll never forget you, 9 mil, bro. I don't remember your username, but I remember you as 9 mil, bro.
Yeah, he's 9 mil.
I observed the chart, and it seems like it's computerized. Like when somebody pumps the chart, especially in the early days when there's only 7 billion coins in circulation, it was easy to make the coin go up, but it would cancel out straight away. It still does that now, but it waits a little bit longer.
Yeah.
It gives them the impression that they're making it go higher, and then it cancels out. So it still does that, but I think that's the automated market maker. I think that's how they generate the 1.1 billion liquidity. A lot of people got liquidated.
But I can understand like people getting tired and frustrated and selling before the mega pump and the Panasonic announcement, because you know it's sad, but it makes sense. What doesn't make sense to me is the believers, quote unquote believers, that we're unloading some at a penny. You know, like why would you do that?
Yeah.
I mean, if you really need the funds, you know, if you need money, you need money. I totally get it, but you know, if you didn't need it, you didn't need it.
Yeah, no, I agree. Even our good old JASMY father unloaded, and then it bounced up on him.
Wait, which one?
The what's his Zeberg?
Oh shit.
One of the guys on Twitter here, and I think he publicly said like he sold a bit or something, and then it immediately like bounced up, and everybody was dogging him for a while. Now they're back on his side. They love him. Yeah.
It can be as risky to sell as it can be to keep holding. In my opinion, I don't see as selling is less risky than holding once you bought. They both have their risks, you know, and that's something that took me a while to learn. You know, years ago was selling. You never know what the price is going to be tomorrow. So it's like once you bought something, you hold it for a while. You know, I remember buying Michael Jackson records in the 80s and they weren't worth anything. They were still, to some extent, a lot of them aren't because they made so many of them. But actually, it was the day that he passed away, everything Michael Jackson was
Yep.
worth money. And I knew from then to start collecting icons as far as like, in my own personal record collection, like buy the icons, because when they pass, if you do ever want to sell those records, they will pass, and some whole new generation of kids become into it, and that's what partly drives the price up. And so when Prince passed away, I was fully stocked on Prince records, and I was able to offload those that day for DJs and collectors who wanted them. That's just a perspective on holding a different asset. But holding, you never know why or when. But it can be just as risky to sell something. Like the people who sold me those Prince records for $1, and then a year or two later, they were all going for $150, $200. So just a little perspective on holding.
Hey, do you think we'll ever get our OG NFTs, and maybe they'll be valuable then?
Oh God.
I really want mine just for my own personal story.
Still
Yeah,
haven't
I want
gotten
it.
it.
Like when I win something, I want it.
yeah,
Yeah.
guys, I think the NFTs that are coming out now for JASMY and JASMY's partners, they're going to be worth something. They're the first stage of the metaverse. So it's like having the earliest Pokemon cards. And like you say, it's some of these artists only become famous when they die, like Vincent van Gogh. Nobody knew about him when he was alive, and everyone, now he's painting himself for millions. So imagine in 10, 20 years time when Jasmine is something big and it's in everything that's connected to IoT and is regarded to data. I think Jasmine's kind of collectibles are going to be worth something, man.
Mm-hmm.
It's going to be it's like version 1 of something. The NFTs now is the early NFT technology. It's going.
Yeah, what is it? Shwisha, right? The Shwisha. I remember that Dip talked about when he had his conversation with Hara, and then he posted about it.
Yeah, it's their
That's
memory.
yeah, that
Their
IP. That IP is huge. They got a lot.
And what happened with Sakura NFT? Wasn't there a partnership with Sakura NFT? That
There was. Yeah.
Yeah, there
That's
was.
old.
No, I remember that's old. I don't know if I don't think it's valid anymore. I don't even know if Sakura NFT is a thing. But
Yeah,
Well,
I don't know.
they still have the website. I went on it the other day because I was going through a few things. Somebody brought up Binance and Japan, and I remember when Binance re-entered Japan, they brought an exchange called Sakura.
mm-hmm.
So
Yep,
I don't know if
that's right.
Binance owns that Sakura, because Sakura has a few different websites and they do a few different things, but the logo's always the same, like some lotus
That's the one. Yeah, isn't that the one
Yep.
they were having the talking about the gold NFTs or something?
Yep.
Or
They have the
yeah,
gold NFTs, the first female race car NASCAR driver from Japan.
Yeah, and some orchestra people and stuff, symphony stuff.
I figured they was gonna do a
You could
Tsuyoshi
buy them.
Tsuruo
You could buy
NFT.
those NFTs as well with EGI and XRI, which
Mm-hmm.
is e-game and XRI.
X Road Initiative.
Yeah, that's it.
Yeah.
Extra.
And
So that,
E-game seems to keep moving. Their crypto seems to have life.
Oh yeah. I haven't looked into them in a little while.
you know what happened either. There was on Coin Eel, which was a Asian exchange, but it went into administration because it's something to do with Hong Kong regulations. It didn't allow it, so yeah, I had a few little coin on there, and it's kind of stuck on there now. Yeah,
One
I've
of
got to
them, one
pay.
of them had a more recent transaction within the last 6 months from like an old L Bank wallet or something. Like I remember seeing something like that.
Yeah, well, you can withdraw your. I can make a request to withdraw it, but the thing is, I've got to pay 10% per year. So each year I've waited, I've got to pay 10%. So now it's been 2 years. I've got to pay 20% of my total holding, and I don't hold it a lot, so it's like I'm waiting for the coin to just pump crazy, and then I'll just like make that request. But what I've realized is when you make a request to withdraw your funds, because it's cold storage, the exchange doesn't have an exchange wallet. They have a cold storage wallet, so it's kept off the exchange. You have to make a request, and sometimes the request doesn't go in till the next day. And by then, the pump's over. So, yeah, Mr. Houston.
Hey guys, how are you?
What's up, Houston?
Hey,
Doing well.
Hey, bro.
hey, bro. Hey, Jasmine Samurai, how are you? Nice to hear you.
Yeah, you too. Houston's my hometown.
Yeah, Texas.
What? Hell yeah.
Yeah, yeah. Actually, I was like regarding to Sakura, and this is as Maya mentioned. It was X Road and E Game. X Road and E Game, and somehow they are the same person because the CEO of X Road, he's the executive director for e-game. The problem with the e-game now they became pocket gaming, and the way that they postpone the roadmap every time. And unfortunately, Hara mentioned that they don't care about the token; they care about the structure of e-game itself, which is something not good because most of us like invested in EGI and Xroad. So we just waiting for them because they mentioned that they would like airdrop for those people who have like e-game and Xroad. I was following them and I wrote to them many times. There is no response like Jasmy. So hopefully there is something good. But the most important thing that Jasmy and like through Hara, they show interested in the Xroad patent. Okay, it's about like data also information, so hopefully.
Is X-Rod the one to do with the gambling where it's like a system that uses blockchain to
No, e-game is the big
that's
thing.
e-game, the
Yeah,
gambling one. And what's the
yeah.
X-Road one?
X-Road is about like connecting all these network including Doge and everything, but their partnership with Jasmine was about like the first bank information in Japan. But they still, I mean, they still like many partnerships still like in a shadow, so we just want to need to understand because the main partnership that should Jasmine talk about it is their partnership with centrality. And till now because it's a strategic partnership, and I see maybe like give us information more about that because Jasmine depend 100% about Jasmine centrality tools and centrality protocols. But I don't know why they don't talk about it. Because without centrality, I don't want to like be negative. Like Jasmine have nothing.
Now you're talking about the old centrality partnership with Jasmy, right?
Yeah,
And
yeah,
yeah, because they were going to use the original partnership had single source, silo,
yeah,
and maybe Centrapay, right? Because the
Hmm.
centrality technology was 5 services, and I believe Jasmy was originally planning on using 3 of them. Um, but those plans changed, and Jasmy paid Centrality to use Centrality's technology, the PlugNet toolkit. Which that's why I'm the PlugNet
yeah,
toolkit maxi. That's what I really am.
Yeah.
I support both of them. Anything that comes from PlugNet, I am heavily invested and involved in. And I think both systems will do well. I hope that they work together. They still can, and I know the interoperability is possible. And they won't say that they're not going to do it, because I just asked Aaron McDonald, the founder of Futureverse, the other day publicly, when he posted something about Silo, and I asked, "Hey, are you guys doing a collaboration with Jasmy later this year?" Nothing. Silence. That's fine, because that's what I expect. But they did tell me, I don't know, it came from a Futureverse team member. They did tell me in December. I asked them directly. I said, "Hey, like, is Jasmy and Silo going to do anything?" And they basically said, "It sounds like they're still communicating. It's not dead. They're still talking, and that they were talking about getting together later next year." They said that to me in December 2023. So that's why I'm kind of expecting, okay, maybe they're going to have talks, sometime maybe in the second half of this year. So, and I think Junction and Altered State Machine and Silo, I mean, like, they seem very complementary. So I don't see why they want to do it. But I mean, I don't know. I mean, I can't tell you for sure.
yeah,
But we have all right. Let's say that doesn't happen. Let's say that these two consortium chains, which all derive from the PlugNet toolkit, let's say that they just decide to not work together. Okay. Um. Uh. They Jasmy still has all of the PlugNet technology because they paid them for the license to use it. So that means that we still have the Donut protocol, which is open patent. Not only do we have the open patent, but they have the access to the entire PlugNet toolkit. So they still have access to, like, that technology,
yeah.
even if they're not directly cooperating, because they're paying for it.
Yeah, definitely. And like when I talk about centrality, I am talking about different project from like a future verse because
Sens, you're talking about
centrality.
Sens, right?
Yeah, centrality, it's open source also, and they even like future verse in their white paper they say we and like even centrality, it said it's option to burn the coin in order to get wrote coin, because our project is still ongoing. But when because I didn't like posted about exactly what is the partnership with Jasmy, because I don't want to people confused, because when you read something it's not like when you explain it. The main partnership with Centrality, it's about the Smart Guardian and the other service, what's called, I don't remember it, the Smart Guardian and the,
Secure knowledge communicator.
yeah. So those both is provided by Centrality. Do you know that?
Wait, could you say that last part again?
So both those the one that we talk about it, like the Smart Guardian by Jasmy and the other one that you mentioned it, is
Yes.
both of them is provided by Centrality.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I'll have
Yeah.
to look into that
I
again.
Yeah, I found an article 5 years ago by a researcher. Oh, I think he's working with the like Ministry of Communication in New Zealand, and she's 5 years ago, and she mentioned exactly what is the strategic partner between Jasmine and Centrality. So the headline in her article, she said, "What Centrality is providing for Jasmine," and there is like an article in Japanese talking about they use this patent, or they bought this patent. So there is like something about the patent from Centrality and Jasmy. We don't know exactly how they did it, but in somehow I think Jasmy used this technology by Centrality and built their own blockchain. If you want, I can share with you this. This is why I didn't highlight it in Twitter. I didn't want people to be confused about exactly, because
Yeah,
if it is open source, okay, this is mean it's available for everyone. So maybe Jasmine use it and build on it all. It is a project.
yeah. Send that over to me and I'll review it. Centrality, so Central Sens used to be known as Centrality, and then I think they became known as Sens. Sens is a fork of Plug, and Plug is a fork of Substrate, and Substrate is the foundation for Polkadot. So
I think centrality is just the name of the
it
ecosystem
is. It
itself.
is.
They call
Yeah,
it
yeah. They used to
eco.
call the train centrality as well, but then I think they named it. They changed it to Sens or vice versa. But also there was the comp. It was like the company, and then basically they have centrality of the network, and then centrality of the company was working on centrality of the network, which became known as Sens, and centrality of the company basically turned into Futureverse. They basically released Sens to the public, made it fully decentralized and said, okay, we're basically done. We made 30, they claim they made 30 applications, blah, blah, blah. Now Sens or Centrality Network is ran by a DAO. So Centrality, the organization, turned into Futureverse. They no longer work or developing for Sens network. Sens is basically in charge of itself through the DAO, so they can do whatever. And they went and made Futureverse, and then they made their own consortium, which they rolled in non-fungible labs that I posted earlier that connected like Snoop Dogg and Keanu Reeves and all those guys are involved. That was all non-fungible labs. That's where like the Pixel the Apes NFT collection, the bunnies, the OG bunnies and stuff. The profile picture I had before I put my sweet spacesuit bear up. All of those got put in and rolled up, and then Altered State Machine got rolled up. That's where Masanobu Yoshida, he left JASMY to go be an advisor for them. So yeah, that's that whole corporate history.
Everything may just be about to fly, guys. I'm looking at Bitcoin and it's just done some very nice little candles.
Yeah, I haven't even watched
Yes.
the price
And
today. I gotta check it out.
the RSI is at a beautiful place. It's in the stable zone. And same with Jasmy. Jasmy's RSI is better than all of them. It's actually a better place. Oh my days, Jasmy's candles mighty compared to Bitcoin and Ethereum. This might be it, guys. And Ethereum's not moving now. Ethereum's not doing what Bitcoin and Jasmy's doing. It's amazing when Ethereum moved, Jasmy moved. When Bitcoin moved, Jasmy moved. It seems to be doing its own thing. I noticed it decoupled a few weeks back. It's obviously Ethereum and Bitcoin has influence over it, but it is actually doing its own thing. It give a lot of bullish signals where the candles looked like they were going to break up higher, but they didn't, and it didn't retest. So I really feel like this could be, all the ETFs that they talked about, the Chinese ETFs and the Bitcoin halving. This could be it, guys. Could be happening now. This could be the climb.
We've all been
Where
waiting
do you
for
think?
it.
Where do you guys think it will go though? Bitcoin, like, or Ethereum? I think Ethereum could hit 5K very soon. But where do you think Bitcoin could go?
Man, that's again, I could see it hitting 100K. Um, but this bull run has been different. I mean, I don't expect things to be predictable. Like everyone's like, "Oh yeah, well the past 3 runs they've done this, they've done this, they've done this. So we're going to do that." No, because I think people know too much. So they try to play it, but they end up getting played. There's going to be some switch up here. Something's going to happen that is very out of the ordinary, and I don't know what it is though. But I could see it tapping 100K.
Yeah, I agree with you. I think 100K will be like a number people will talk about because everything is about marketing. But I wanna thank you, IT Fabian, about the the post that you yesterday is about the root name surface. It's really a big deal because I understand the Ethereum name surface, and this is where the banks and the institution, financial institution, will use. This is why the ENS is going up because it will be easy to transfer money from like a name to a name. Like for example, from JP Morgan to Wells Fargo, it will be easy for them. So having Root, having the same thing, and like with their partnership with XRP, I think it's preparing for something huge also.
Yes, if the JASMY consortium and the Futureverse consortium partner, if they fully partnered and fully work together, which they should. I'm a little biased. I think they should.
Yeah,
They would literally be connecting, like now we're talking about connecting R3 Corda all the way down, through SBI and all that, through JASMY coming over to their side with the XRP ledger. So yeah, I mean it would be a legendary move.
yeah. And yeah, by the way, this today the post like about the tokenized deposit in Japan, the JC yen, which is like by a company, is they will launch their service soon, and their partnership are really interesting partnership, including SBI. So like there is a different of money transfer in the future. And but by the way, I covered this because I found this Panasonic is exploring their surface, and they will start in 2024. It's about there is three different way to deal with the money. One of them is the CBDC and the stable coin, and now we have the concept of tokenized deposits. So it's a new thing that we should like learn about it also. Like every day we find something and we learn exactly what will be the category, and like the Japanese are really supporting this concept. So it will be like a really good thing to follow up.
Tokenized real world assets.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. I mean, every country, every nation,
That's what
they are doing
that's
their
what
stuff.
BlackRock has got into crypto to do, is to tokenize everything,
Yeah,
all of their assets.
yeah. It's really, really important to understand all those things because it will show us exactly what will be the opportunity, even for Jasmine in the future. Because at the end of the day, Jasmine is dealing with uh, the BDL, the wallet itself, and it can help. And you know how the Japanese are sensitive about their data, so this is the solution now.
We might have I think the 10 also has tokenized RWA maybe as one of their. Did you see that, Jasmine Samurai? I'm trying to remember. I'm trying to pull up the
Yes,
page.
they do. And I had their homepage pulled up here. But yeah, I do remember seeing that. That was part of their stuff. Oh, no, it's gone away.
But yeah, we might have some difficulty tracking some things. That's one of the challenges of Jasmine and Jasmine related technologies is the privacy factor.
I think you just nailed it on the head. They're a privacy company, so if they're doing their job well, we don't know everything, and if we know everything, they're not doing their job well. So,
Well, that sucks.
yeah. Yeah, some I've definitely contemplated. I'm like, how well are they doing their job, and how? Because I see a ton of I have quite a few links I've been tracking for a couple years now that I check every day, and it's amazing all the things that come up that aren't related to JASMY because you can't find JASMY in the post. But then, sure enough, 3, 4, 6 months down the line, that's an announcement. You know, and so in the metadata of a lot of these websites, I do believe JASMY's name and certain chambers in these websites are hidden. Which isn't that hard to do without JASMY, but looking at BitPoint's website, if you're not in Japan, if that is being controlled by JASMY, then JASMY's doing a great job because it's hard to get in and get any data from them. And like I've said before, like even on Coin Market Cap, there's no data for BitPoint, and I'm always wondering, is that something that JASMY was able to achieve for them?
Yeah, you made me think about that when you were talking about that, and I still haven't dug into it, but I do remember like this one Etherscan wallet that I thought was Jasmy for a long time, but then through some other things found out it was definitely not Jasmy. And and when you said that, BitPoint was kind of the middleman sending out all these tokens, I was like, wow, I wonder if that was that wallet. I haven't really looked at it. I need to dig in and see, but it would be fun. Maybe I know. Maybe I know.
Yeah, I'm always curious about that one. If someone ever opened up that and figured it out, I would standing ovation.
I think the independent researcher in Jasmy community run the timeline for Jasmy because we work like a 24/7. So they don't have a time. I worked with the Japanese before, like in a high profile level. They read everything. Okay, so the way that we are like just providing information, connecting the dots, I mean, ruined the timeline. So imagine that we are not exist. I mean, Jasmine will take years.
I've wondered that too. Sometimes I've wondered maybe we over researched it. We made it more popular than it was supposed to be before they did what they were going to do. And now they need to literally get rid of all of us and get
Yeah,
back before they can actually get to their program. And all of us are like, no, we're not leaving. Like,
yeah,
No,
yeah,
I totally believe that. I totally believe that.
Well, hopefully they're not like Boeing.
yeah. I'm just kidding. I love all the ambassadors. You see the ambassadors in silent mood. I like for a month now, and we just keep like providing information.
Yeah, I definitely think that you know, we all together kind of made Jasmine a bit more popular than they expected. They definitely did not expect us.
Yeah. I noticed something when you go to like a political figure and write in their post, they don't even like care about responding. It's like we are like targeting and tagging everyone we know, okay, and with like a solid information. And they said what, just like, and this is why we choose our Discord name, Department of what's called Underground Department Research, because I found someone in a Discord, like he said,
I changed it. I changed it, Uber. I changed it 2 days
yeah,
ago. It's Underground Research Directory
yeah.
now. It's like a wiki. Yeah.
Yeah. So the funny thing, why we choose this name, you remember 2 years ago, like there's someone another Discord. They said they keep finding a lot of things, and it's make me smile. And he mentioned the underground, the underground researchers. I thought we will choose this name.
I am sure I have the tweet. I am sure I have the message. I have the message of
Yeah.
Hara. It was in the. It was in the other Discord that he said it.
So hopefully this
So
industrial act will come to life, like in the near future, because the session of the parliament will end. in the middle of June, I think, and it's like they must like do something in the upcoming days or weeks. So I'm following this. Once I found something, I will share it with you guys.
Yeah, thank you,
Also,
Houston. You've been on top of it. I've been watching what you've been putting out. So yeah, keep finding that stuff out
Yeah,
whenever we can. We want to know.
because there is.
also, What's happening with the venture capital stuff, Houston? Because I was looking through all the stuff where Jasmine's been to events, and you know when Akira joined, they went to a venture capital event, and then Harris has recently been to venture capital events as well, and he's also made tweets after the event that he went to side events with venture capital firms, and he was actually hanging out with some venture capital people. So I've seen a load of things suggesting venture capital towards Jasmine. Would that be a big thing? Would that be good?
Yeah, definitely, because this is the Industrial Competitive Act is about allowing the venture capital to invest directly in crypto. And by the way, I'm not sure 100%, but I read in somewhere it's not only for the local venture capital in Japan. I think it's also for the foreign venture capital to invest in Japan. So when you allow the venture capital in Japan to buy and hold, and this is so important, they don't give it like for everyone. You must buy and hold in order to take the advantage from the tax reform, because the tax, like the crypto tax in Japan, is really something like unusual, because they tax people for unrealized gain. So, and unfortunately, in the United States, they are thinking and they have a proposal to do that also, which is something don't make sense. So now the Japanese government approve it, and then the Japanese House of Representatives approve it, which is a big deal, because the House of Representatives is not the majority is not like by the ruling party only. There is like the opposite political party. When you have the both side of the aisle is supporting some law, which will mean that it will be passed soon. So once it's passed, and it will be highlighted by the news, because nobody highlighted. They highlighted the approval by the Japanese government, but all what we are following is the process and the regulation in Japan. So we are in advance from other media news, because we are like following that on a daily basis. And by the way, if we wanna, and we will hopefully do that together, that we will cover exactly what the Japanese did from like from the last 2 years until now. The first was the privacy protection law, and then we have the NFT task force committee in the Japanese parliament. Tell me which parliament in the world have a committee head by the former foreign minister, and they name it like NFT task force. And then you have the coin regulation. Actually, it's a law. So the Japanese all also regulated how to deal with the stable coins. And this is so important, because it's a good environment when they hit the USDT. Like sooner or later, USDT will be under the attack. Like like maybe in a week, maybe in a month, they will uh, focus on USDT. It's like they focus on Binance before. So USDT is dangerous for regulator. So what will be the alternative? It will be the USDC, and this is why the SPI is supporting and have a partnership with Circle and Coinbase behind Circle. So USDC will be the alternative, because regulation will come, we like it or not. So we now must like follow those regulation and understand it in advance. It will be a good opportunity for us to see exactly what is the great opportunity.
Yeah, it's I think I just saw that USDT is kind of under attack in Europe right now, and Kraken is defying the order right now.
Yeah, yeah, but because it's not regulated, so USDC will be the alternative, definitely.
Oh
Like
yeah.
I, yeah, like Maya. He remember like 2 years ago we have a YouTube with the red blue dot, and I said Coinbase will be like a big winner, and they said why? I said because it's regulated. So when you have, this is not a kid game. You are trying to transfer the old financial system to the new one. Okay, so you are fighting like banks and financial institutions. If you don't follow what they are doing, or if there is no regulation for it, it will never have a chance. So, and Japanese, and even Mark Cuban, like the billionaire, like 2 weeks ago, he was giving example like Japanese did it. So they need like a successful example for regulation, okay, in order to transfer from the old system to the new system. And sometimes we forget we covered many things like the G20 regulation in India. You know, India is the main player in the world, and like you see India as it's like playing the cat and mouse things with the rest of the world. Like in order to India to be involved in this, they must like have some guarantee. We must understand how the Chinese thinking, the Indian. This is like a big nations in the world because you need them in the future. Like IoT, without affordable product, it will never live. So you need the Chinese, the Indian people to produce those uh, little things that you will use it to build this like a huge network for the IoT.
No, absolutely. And when a device gets cheap enough, especially for people in those countries where their monthly income is fairly low in dollar amount,
Yeah.
if they can get like a device for 10 or 20 bucks, and they're making a few $100s a year off off their that's huge.
Yeah, because you must like make people buy those little things affordable in order to collect data. Because the IoT things is about how you collect data and you use it as a fuel for artificial intelligence. So the target is not only mass adoption, like you must like have in every device a way to the big company to collect data. This is the main idea of Web3 and IoT, how to collect data. And when you have a really uh, correct data, this is mean you have like a really huge advanced artificial intelligence.
But Jasmine is a lot more than that. It's not just collecting the data. It's not just a solution for people to hold their data. It also removes liability from big companies and corporations, whereas usually the companies and corporations will be holding onto that data and handling that data. Um, Now they won't, because now it's going to be on your personal data locker,
So
and they will have to ask you permission.
which means that you are localizing data because data have a value now. So China is like Saudi Arabia, like comparing like to data things. So Japanese know that the data is the fortune. So when you use the privacy protection law plus a technology, okay, to maintain and protect the data, so it's like you having oil well in some place, and some oil is not protected, anyone can come and take it from it, and the other one is so protected. And like in general, Asian people are sensitive about their data, like, and they decided to take advantage from it. And when you have like an Asian country like Japan, despite all these like conflict in the world, Japan still have a good relation with Chinese, with the other Asian country. So now, and this is why, like in the main roadmap, they said we are targeting Asian country, and our targeting is 107 million people. 7 million will be in Japan, and the rest will be from the Asian country, because this is a solution for Asian country, and this is also a tricky way to say, hey, we will help you, okay, to control your oil. This is just my opinion.
So my actually brought up a great point that was one of my initial reasons why I got into JASMY and was like, this could work. It was because, like you said, it takes that liability off of companies. They don't have to hold your data and risk data breaches, which how many have we seen this past year? Tons of them. Data breaches, data breaches. Everybody's data is on the dark web because these companies haven't been able to secure it. So, one thing that I thought would definitely help adoption is that point right there. Hey, we're going to handle the data, it'll be in these data lockers, it's safe with our technology on the blockchain. Um, and I think that is going to be a selling point for companies and to get adoption.
Yes, definitely.
Well, we've seen Facebook got sued for selling data to Cambridge Analytica, and then a year later they were sued again, and a year later they were sued again. It's the reason why Facebook changed its name from Facebook to Meta. And then you have the NHS data scandal where they're selling data to a company called Palantir. So yeah, there's a load of data things going on where I think it's more to do with trust. People don't trust where the data's ending up. So if people, if things are more consensual, then people have a choice. And also, it's a liability thing. It removes the liabilities from the companies. And if something happens with your data on a data locker, it's on JASMY then. So yeah, they have various mechanisms to gain access to the data locker. Um, there's actually maps. I'll post the maps. I've got a few maps.
Your critical personal data actually isn't stored on the JASMY network. It's like maintained on your device at the device level. And the way, so so basically they have critical personal data and non-critical personal data, and they actually break it up into like shards, which is pretty cool. And so you kind of like have these shards that like represent like different pieces of your non-critical personal data. Like you like pizza, you like this, your interests, like your critical personal data
You have like a
being who
key
you
and
are.
a hash to get to your thing, but it's like multiple. Obviously, there's the one for the network, there's the one for your device, there's the one for your PDR, and then you got the KYM and the KYC.
Yeah, but but all that the KYC. So your first secret key is made by combining your KYC data with a secret key that's generated on a secure device, which kind of gets back to the trusted execution environment. So no one can see. Remember how I said in trust TEEs you can't see what's going on in there. So there's a secret key combined with your KYC data that generates your first private keys. So nobody can access that. And I think the the like when you transfer, like when you sell your personal data, like it kind of like it's almost like it doesn't reside on the network. They just see you as person XYZ that has interests in anime and whatever. You like Japanese stuff, obviously. So and you like certain foods and shit, and then and your shoe size is 10 or whatever, and then they want to get to know more about you, and then when you choose to sell your personal data, it kind of like goes through the locker, boom, kind of like that.
Yeah, but the cool thing and unique about, even if you give your permission through Jasmy to third party, you can still tracking your data, which is something unique. You don't find like any place in the world you can track the data that you give a permission. You will know exactly which will be the end user.
Yeah. We should be able to know who, not just like between like, oh, like what organization or what government entity or whatever is interested in my data. I should be able to, if Houston sent me a contact, he's like, hey, can you send me $10? I'm like, yeah, sure, I'll send you $10. And before, like in the process, like you will be able to verify, like it's not just going to be like some random Ethereum address. Like I'll know 100% that the address I'm sending to is Houston.
Yeah. And this is why also Futureverse have something similar about the brand itself, about the brands, the way that they will targeting people in the future. Okay, it's like I'm not like familiar with it to explain it, but it is the similar idea. It will return back the ability for the people to hide their information also, and they will allow to share this if they want to. Okay, so this is why all these partnership with the main brand in the world, the way that you will marketing your brands to the audience, it will be in a different story. And besides that, Futureverse also like try to protect the copyright for many things in the music and in many industry, which is something unique. Hopefully that there is a hidden partnership between Jasmine and the Futureverse, or maybe any like respected or good company in the world.
Yeah, they and that all comes back to the PlugNet toolkit, because the PlugNet toolkit is full of rich permissions and identity attestation. So, that's where we all stem from, getting that power from. Um, they also, Futureverse has, they partnered with Ready Player One and Warner Brothers Media, which has access to AT&T IP holdings, which includes stuff like HBO. And they're also getting heavily involved in Japan. They're also getting heavily involved in Korea. Everywhere that JASMY is going, it seems like Futureverse is going too. So it's like within like months of each other too. It's crazy. But if anybody hasn't seen it, if you look up Shara Senderoff, she is one of the founders of. I think she's one of the founders of Altered State Machine, which is, that's where Masanobu Yoshida went. Definitely check out those research papers, because those they got a lot of cool stuff. And she describes some very similar technology to Jasmy about revealing your identity to interested businesses in return for stuff. So I don't know. That could be, in my opinion, they could do something. They could partner with Jasmy for that, or they could try to do something different. But
Well, I want to just bring up one thing because I do know this is that I believe Warner Brothers is under Sony, so there is Sony connection somewhere in there.
oh,
I think Sony's actually buying Paramount right now. It's been in the news the last 2 days.
That's a power move. So a lot of these separate entertainment companies are really under very few umbrellas. Um, One reason I love Sony is Sony's a technology company that owns tons of music labels and movie houses. Most of the other companies that that are the conglomerates that own music labels and movie houses are actually alcohol companies, and they use their movies
Like that.
and music labels to promote alcohol. Where Sony is actually very different. It's the only one that's different that actually uses its music labels and movie houses to promote technology, and it's one of the reasons why I've always liked Sony above and beyond all the others. But yeah, I think Warner Brothers is Sony, so I think they're
no, it's
in.
really cool. Yeah, I didn't know that. No, that's awesome.
Yeah, I'll
That's
double check that, but I know that they were gonna do that, and then I think they did that. Yeah.
word. Hey, Mark, I see you requesting. I see. Yeah, you got other communities members following you. Let's see what's up. Let's see what's up. You got a question, bro? Oh, come on. You can't get stage fright.
Okay, do you hear me now?
Yep, can hear
Yeah,
you.
yeah, we hear you.
Okay, what do you understand about the autonomous AI inside of the PDL that's going to basically refine our data into platinum data and represent us in the ecosystem and the marketplace that's being created?
You're asking what do we know about the AI model for organizing our data? The AI model, they got like three AI companies working together. I think one of them is recurrent or not the current. I can't remember the names of them. I know they got three AI companies developing it. The machine language models that they're developing are basically so that organizations, entities that want to buy data will be able to plug in what they're looking for. The AI model scans all personal data lockers in JASMY network. It's able to scan while maintaining privacy because, as I was saying before, your critical personal data is not stored on the JASMY network. It's non-critical personal data, just your interests. Your actual identity is protected. So it kind of like views like everybody's anonymous interests, and it immediately connects businesses and organizations that want to buy data with people that hold the data that they want. Does that make sense?
Yes.
All right, most excellent. Do you have another question?
Just more about the actual PDL itself. When we basically receive it, it's like an Apple wallet, but on steroids. It's quantum proof and it's an empty shell, from what I understand. And there'll be an autonomous AI that basically greets us. And whether we choose to use Novo Serum with our genetic makeup for health benefits, or with this new carbon footprint, or allowing the AI to understand my emails, my phone calls, my messages, understanding my location services, my browsing habits, uh, understanding my finances, it seems to me that this wallet, the super wallet, is going to become really appealing.
Yes, I agree. I think so as well because and like others have said before, like will be another time that this will be a new time where people will be able to manage and track their data. They can choose whether if you don't want to be discovered, if you just want to use Jasmy Network to protect your data, and if you never want to sell your data, you can do that. You'll be able to choose to be non-discoverable on the network, and then you're just using Jasmy personal data locker to make everything private, and then that's it. So you will have choice, and that's a very important part in data democratization because it's about all about the users and their free will and what they choose to do with their data and track it, whether
And
they want to sell it or not.
I agree with that wholeheartedly. However, I believe that the individual human will become educated how important it is to collaborate that data in a data free flow and trust environment where it's for the greater good of our world, whether it's your healthcare, your supply chain, your emergency services. So that's why the Jasmy coin ecosystem was created, to reward you for being a good citizen in a human centric society.
Yeah, exactly. And there's also some things in the patents that, like, let's say there's like a lot of traffic, and like let's say there's like crazy amounts of foot traffic in certain areas, or car traffic, and the Jasmy network might know your habits, might know, hey, you normally go see your friend, or you're normally going to do this, like, but hey, if you stay off the road, maybe we can make it worth your while, like those kind of benefits. So it might make everything more efficient. Just it might make people more efficient just by incentivizing people to be more efficient.
Yeah, from what I understand, the AI that's inside of our PDL becomes our personal assistant, our health coach, our success coach. You can sit down basically and describe your life dreams, goals, and desires, and it will work towards that goal with you.
I haven't I haven't looked too much into like text like AI generation material like that. I mean, I don't see that should definitely be involved because yeah, I mean if why would we not have an AI assistant at this point? You know, Microsoft by the end of this year, one of the it's either one of the control or one of the alt buttons on the right side of, I think the one that's like right on the right side of your space bar, that all new Microsoft laptops by the end of this year, that's going to be replaced with a AI Copilot button. So I mean, general AI assistants like that, they're going to be implemented into everything. And if it's implemented in a network like JASMY that protects your data, and it knows you, you know, that not only is it just it's not just a regular AI assistant tool, it's an AI assistant tool that deeply knows you. He might know you better than you know you.
Exactly. So I spent my life living outside of the box, but outside of the box has gotten very scary. I want to go into the box, aka the PDL, and where we're in a protective environment where we have our ally that represents us personally versus a large language model that's not good. It hallucinates. It's just from the internet information. But imagine a network connected all over the world where each of us individually are truly platinum data.
Absolutely, I agree. Did any of you other bros up here got anything?
I mean, I remember. I mean, Lil Bibman, you had their YouTube videos posted at some point. I think it was an old. I think it was a JASMY video where they did have like a introductory AI on Facebook doing something. It wasn't.
Was it the video with them actually showing the Facebook screen?
Yes, that's the one.
Yeah, and it was the guy at BJit. It was a official JASMY video, and it seemed like it was filmed at the BJit Labs, probably in Bangladesh. It didn't look like it was even in Japan. And I'm slipping on the guy's name right now, but I could go dig it up. But yeah, he logged into Facebook through JASMY, and when he did his facial recognition, it knew his mood, and I think that was supposed to tell the algorithm of Facebook whether they're in a good mood or a bad mood, and it could affect the posts that they're seeing based on that. And I know that was at the time of the Data Happiness project.
Yep, exactly.
And it was all about capturing the smile, but really capturing the mood. And that was actually something that was tied up with Kuzit, right? Was it Kuzit that had the smile, the
Yeah,
AI, the
the
IoT
Happiness
smile
Project.
device? Yeah, there's some. And if you smiled, then you got the hand sanitizer popped out of
Yeah,
the.
yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, but it definitely will use that, that platinum data. But that being said, I think there is also a use of this new type of data, for not necessarily the betterment of humanity, but advertisements. I mean,
Well, and
they're
if you,
they're
when
going to
I
be
look,
able to dig into your every little detail if you allow it.
so here's what I'm trying to what I've come to understand is that what the beauty of this really is, you can share your data or not share your data. So right there, you can turn it on or you can turn it off. And when you turn it on, you can share the amount of data you want to share. But what you cannot share is fake data about yourself that's not in your locker. Like I don't think you can share. I can't make up an identity that's not me in that ecosystem. I think you can actually create your data sharing portfolio based on data that's in your locker. I mean, you can say I do this and I do that, but if it's not verifying in any way that you're engaging in that, maybe JASMY's AI knows how to actually downgrade your data because their AI is going to analyze your data for its value, not you. So I think if you're not being truthful with your identity, you would also lose. You would lose like points or whatever your grading is on your data. So
Yeah, and I think that's a good point. Is like these are not like surveys that you're filling out. this is, things
It's
that they are learning about you and in depth.
Yeah, and I think a generic survey, maybe you'll get a nickel for it. But when you have a generic, take the generic survey and it's mixed with actual data about your travel habits or whatever you're doing. I not that I travel from here to there, but that I travel from 6 a.m. to 8 a.m. on the train, and then I get off and I usually get some sushi or whatever they're eating out there, the mackerel breakfast, and then and all that can actually be verified that this is this person's actual profile. He's sharing authentic information about their lifestyle because you're actually tapping into that restaurant and you're getting a reward or a point, and that's building the authenticity of your data. And like even on the Futureverse, like the social score or whatever they have up there, what is that called? But in that same way, you're building trust in the community, and in this one, you'll be building trust in the platform because every time you share good data that's true and that's usable, I think your score can go up, and your data becomes more expected to be truthful the next time too.
Yeah, that's really interesting. I haven't really seen too much about like scoring or ranking data, but definitely that's a possibility. But I mean, also, yeah, like you said, where you travel. I mean, my phone already knows I go to work in the morning, and it gives me a map to my job. I'm like, yeah, I'm glad that my phone knows where I'm going. Great. Um, but yeah, like that data it's everywhere. It's gonna be collected.
Right. So they have the
And
data, and the next step is saying, "Hey, would you be willing for us to share the fact that there is somebody traveling on this route, a random person who likes whatever kind of food they like, are you willing to share that information because there might be restaurants or whatever business that can use that data to advertise you that would pay for that,
yeah,
whether it's a discounted the thing too. So you're like, yeah, I like fresh fish and whatever, and then before you know it, they're lining you up with a couple fish restaurants on the way where you can stop and have your lunch. Because I mean, I'm just taking that out of their own videos and the own things that they've done, because that's what they kind of did. They stopping at sushi. All their original things was, even in the white paper, they're talking about eating and traveling.
yeah, exactly. Yeah,
Well,
clothing,
Yeah.
food, travel.
And if you look at
exactly.
those early Tizzy Wit videos, that's kind of what the guy gets off the airport. He gets in the cab, and he's the one with Jasmine. So he's just cruising along. He stops and gets food, all
Yep,
these
that's
different
right.
things. The other guy hasn't even left the airport yet.
Yeah,
So, but yeah, I think platinum data is definitely more valuable than the data that they have on us now. Because even though Google has all sorts of data on me, they have addresses from when I lived in multiple states. When I was going to college, those addresses from the '90s are still on Google, and so it's really not effective data. It's not useful data. I'll never be back at those places.
I mean, I think I'm starting to think that once this is like fully done and there's, data free flow with trust, verifiable data, that's just going to make all this old data like much more worthless, because it's all non verifiable. It's just all trust me, bro.
Yeah, and the more you switch your accounts over to being, filtered through one of these data solutions, the less the dark web's old data will even be relevant.
Exactly.
Hey Houston, yeah, I was just reviewing the old Medium article that you sent me regarding centrality developing the secure knowledge communicator and the smart guardian, and yeah, that is what that this article was written in 2019,
Yeah,
so it's an old one, and it was published in SensNet, written by Sarah Jiang.
yeah.
Yeah,
And if
so
you check about her, she is like also like a figure in the community. And I mean, in a blockchain community. I think she worked in like one of the government, like ministries or something like that. I'm not sure about that one.
Yeah, yeah. But yeah, I mean yeah, I mean the article basically says, yeah, they're basically using the PlugNet toolkit to deliver this. But the three bespoke, yeah, the data marketplace, Smart Guardian, and the secure knowledge communicator. So, um, they were using Centrality. So yeah, I still think that since we know that JASMY paid Centrality to use the license,
Yeah,
they're using the same thing just on Hyperledger Fabric for their layer one, whereas they stuck with their substrate based uh, uh, model because they forked substrate to make plug, they forked plug to make sends, and then they forked sends to make root network.
yeah.
That's it. So it's just a fork on a fork and a fork and fork.
Yeah, and if it is open source, it can be like anyone can use it. But the question is, like, because I must like find the other article in Japanese, because one of the Jasmy people who attend this fair in Japan, he was talking about a partnership between them, and there is a patent for it. So I think like maybe Jasmy took those technology and like have a patent about it. And I have a question about, we don't like, I don't understand, there is a patent for Jasmy for the Ghost Drive. If someone like deep dive in it and know exactly what it is.
The Ghost Drive is in one of the patents. It should be in the first one they did for secure PC, I believe.
Yeah. And also, like, if you remember, like maybe a week ago, the hype about that Chat GPT 4, and all the one of the presentation is about the emotional and expression, artificial intelligence recognition. Like Jasmy, like are doing the same thing like 2 years ago. This is smile things and the face recognition thing, and they can award it people like if you use those hygiene like device. So the facial recognition, the emotional recognition, I mean Jasmy did it 2 years ago, so now it's like a breakthrough through artificial like chat gpt and open ai. But like Jasmy, it's already did that with their partner.
Yeah, yeah, and David McDonald even commented. Aaron and David McDonald were commenting under some of their stuff. The Chat GPT 4.0, I think it is. Um, and they were basically like, "What do you think about this?" And David McDonald said, like, "Yeah, like we got the patents on this already. This is what AS altered state machine is. They
Yeah,
got they got they got they got like 30 patents or something.
yeah,
So they could be. I wonder if they're paying because they're paying Futureverse Consortium for this. But I also wonder if like some of that is altered state machine patents that Jasmy's using, secretly.
yeah. It looked like like Jasmy at the beginning, like when they it was in 2016. Like all these patent and technology had like, the Japanese, they must like buy the copyright or whatever. So in order to have, because even Hara is talking about Jasmy license, so they build their own system depending on many other people innovations, and they are now providing those services to like big tech in Japan. We need someone from Jasmy. Well,
Yeah,
Got
we
a
definitely.
question.
Yeah.
Excuse me.
I don't. I've just sent. I sent Houston and Icy and Jasmine one of the centrality articles. I don't know if that was the one you were looking for, where it clearly states that secure knowledge communicator was developed with Jasmine.
Oh, cool. Yeah, I'm looking at it right now.
yeah,
So it
it's
might be
an
beyond a lease. That might be something they did work on together.
yeah, because there is like because there is like an in Japanese. It was in Japanese. There is an like this famous website that's all covering Jasmine all the time. So they
Hmm.
cover this, and they have a partnership like regarding to this patent. But the way that the article in Medium by Sarah is was talking that centrality providing those, but it doesn't talk about the exactly what is the partnership with them, if they work together on it, or they give them the technology, or buy they
The
Jasmine bought
one,
it from them.
the one
I
I
have
just sent you just said, and that one is still Sarah June. She says that it was jointly developed by
yeah,
Centrality and Jasmine.
yeah.
I just gave her 50 claps on
Okay.
on Medium. She's gonna get 50 claps. Like, you're dude. This one's even older. This is from June 2018.
Hmm.
Delayed response.
Has
Because that was
anybody
what I
heard
always
about the?
had understood, is that they had actually built a few things together, and I think that might have to do with the fact that they held the Felica chip. And there's only so much any of these companies can do if they're not integrated with Felica, because Felica is in everything. I think that's the card that they hold up their sleeve.
Yeah, as I see, like explain to me, like the Donut protocol, it will be open source. I think FutureVerse wants their protocol and their patent to be used all over the world in order to achieve their target and goal. So they like just to provide the rest of the world with a unique technology, and if like there is a adoption by like main company in the world, so it will be very easy for them to achieve their goal, because this is they started with centrality because Aaron and his brother like is the main masters behind everything. So they create all these, and they said centrality will be like a project by its own, and it will be open source for the others. And then they build their future verse by merging all these company together and providing something, and which is called the open metaverse. So I think I agree with IC about like the idea of having the patent and make it open source. And this is the problem between Elon Musk and the Open AI. He wanted to be an open source, and they became like a private company.
Yes, the donut protocol, open source, very important to get that identity attestation. These cryptographic proofs that like live off chain. That's pretty much like what that is. But so that's open source, but their toolkit, but the PlugNet toolkit, that's proprietary. So they basically everybody's going to get like kind of the interoperability aspect for free, but then like their actual like powerful tools they're using and Jasmy's paying to use as well.
So the next question is, who's paying Jasmine and for what?
I
I,
thought you had those answers.
Well, I mean,
I thought we've been doing that the past 2 years.
Aren't we
well,
Oh
paying
I
yeah.
them?
think I think there's two levels to it, right? There's who's staking tokens and using their services, and who's paying in fiat for an NFT like I did. I didn't buy the NFT. The Jasmine NFT wasn't bought with crypto, which was, it's always strange to me when I'm dealing with Web3 in fiat. It always actually it annoys me in a way. You know, it's like,
Are we not going to pay storage on our PDLs?
I believe so, but I would prefer that if it was in Jasmy, but I would prefer if it was in an ecosystem where people are earning Jasmy, that they can actually recycle, and it can be free, but it won't be free if you don't participate.
Exactly.
Uh, Only one thing about what Jasmine Wallet, and they mention if in order to have a fully function activate, you must deposit Jasmine in it. It's like XRP. If you wanna activate the wallet, you must like deposit 10, at least 10 XRP, in order to like make a transaction between exchange to wallet or whatever. So Jasmine have the same concept in order to have the fully function. okay, wallet, you must deposit, which is another way to hold the coins.
So yeah, they've said that there will be a small deposit for users, but that can be withdrawn at any time.
You can, yeah, you can unstake
Yeah,
and get
but
off the platform.
like
Yeah.
yeah, but you will lose the privilege of having the wallet full because there is a reward for it. So you must like a deposit in order to use a fully functioning wallet,
Correct.
which means that if you, yeah, if you take your wallet, it's mean nothing. I mean, it's like subscription, and from there you can use the data, like obtain the DD coin, whatever the service that they will give you in the future.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, but with the mass adoption, if they target like 100 million active user, it's also another way to take from the circulating supply the coins.
Yes, it would. If if you say even 10 JASMY coin for 100 million users, that's billion right there. And if you make it more, it just gets bigger and bigger. So yes, it definitely would be.
Is there is anything about the decentralized GPU by function junction function
You said the decentralized GPUs
GPU?
with Jensen.
Yeah.
Yeah, and unfortunately, like I don't even know enough about it. Like they have all these plans, obviously, um, but I haven't been able to find any like details.
And yeah, and another thing, the permissionless AI also, like because they mentioned two things we don't understand it yet, and we didn't have like enough information to talk about it. So like the decentralized GPU and the permissionless AI. Okay, so it's hopefully they can help us provide some information about it, or maybe they will never, because with Jasmy we ruin their timeline. If we find something, we will, like, because Jasmy Junction also maybe have a timeline and like a years of uh, roadmap, and if we focus on it, Hara will be crazy.
Yeah. So yes, there's something to that.
Did Horror specifically like mention, was it PS3, PS4, and PS5 that could be used, or was it only certain ones?
Somebody did look into that list of GPUs, and I don't remember, but I think it was. It may have been the 4 Pro and the 5. I'm not sure.
Yeah, I feel like it was mentioned that it was even the three. Even the three could be used, which would make sense if it was people using their old Sony products. Also, you know,
Yeah, because yeah, e-game also talking about old like devices, like old phone, especially in like a poor country in Asia, and they will allow people, okay, to use the and play the old games, okay, and get those rewards. But they are focusing on the ERC 404, which is the NFT things. So they also targeting like a poor country, and like with all devices they will allow them to benefit from even the old games.
I remember somebody had posted that there was a study with Stanford and Sony on the PS3 of using the GPU for distributed storage, and I don't know if anyone who's talking right now is that person. But yeah, I remember that being a pretty interesting thing because if that was true, the PS3s worked well and still would by that measure. The same way people use old devices to mine Bitcoin, and like it doesn't have to be the newest thing; it just has to work.
Dang, yeah, I didn't see that, but that is very interesting.
Mm-hmm. I will try to pull that up because I remember reading that and being pretty shocked that it had already been done. Like whatever they're trying to do now, they already did it, and now it's just about integrating it into a whole IoT ecosystem, which is what Panasonic is planning. You know, and then we know that Panasonic and Sony all these companies are tied up somewhere. And for a global IoT system to work, every company has to have an entry, be able to enter that and participate. And I think that brings us back to the protocols.
Yeah, exactly. And they all have to have kind of a common language and kind of all have to mesh together. I'm going to go ahead and pre-order my PlayStation 6 now.
I'm gonna start buying up PS3s.
Yeah. Get the broken ones online, get like 100 for $5 and fix them up.
Fix them up, get them going. Yeah, I remember at one point people were talking about storing their private keys on old iPods because they never could get on the internet.
Oh, damn.
And
Yeah.
just and iPods for a minute became valuable again. Like everybody was trying to get the old hoopty iPod that had no access to any kind of internet.
Yeah.
Actually, Google now, if you want to get their new tablet, you can exchange for free if you have an old iPad, even if it's 6 years old. Like you can send it to them, and they will send you like a free Google tablet.
Yeah, they know something.
Hey guys, I'm sorry I'm quiet. I just wanted to pop in really quick. My fiance called me, and it's our last chance to talk before she goes back out to sea for like 10 days. So I'm just on my other device. I'm just setting my phone down.
Yeah, you're all good. Any more questions out there?
No, but I found the study. If anyone wants to look it up, it was the Sony Folding Home Project.
Nice. I'm writing that down.
Yeah, type in Folding Home PS3 Sony Stanford, and they logged 100 million hours, and that was actually in 2012. So this is not new. One other thing I'll say, as far as ecosystem of JASMY, I think when JASMY lost Borks and maybe I don't know what's up with eSoft things, but with those partnerships gone, the partnership that seems to be the most overlooked to me that's through BJIT is definitely SourceNext. SourceNext every 2 days is releasing a new IoT product, and Kunitake Ando is at the top of that. And I can only think at this point that's the most likely manufacturing partner for random IoT integration devices that JASMY would definitely be able to operate with, because SourceNext is right there with JASMY and Google and everything else on the BJIT partnership list. And so you got Kunitake Ando at the head of 3 of these companies, uh, with Kazumasa Sato at 2 of them. And if they're not working together, then, I mean, that's just the weirdest way to be, in competition with another company.
Yeah,
I just can't see.
with your own.
At that point, it's just like espionage, but it's two in the open. Like these people are openly on the boards and work at all these companies.
Yeah. Yeah, and I
And they
think that interconnectivity between all these companies, like,
And then I think Kunitake is a funnel for young engineers and young talent in Japan through the university as well. So he knows the vision of the country, he knows the vision and the capabilities of the technology, and he's running a university that is creating, new minds that are going to be able to operate this after they're gone. I think it's a passing of the baton, and I would definitely keep our eye on Source next, and hopefully we get some kind of, type of confirmation that can, make everybody jump up and down. But at the very least, I just can't see these companies being in competition with each other. It doesn't make sense.
yeah. No, I agree.
And Source Next is behind like video games too. Like I think Evil Dead, they did that. They the sound, application SoundForge, which I know a lot of game designers use. That's a Source Next product. So that company is just utterly bizarre to keep digging into. And if they are partnered with JASMY, that's just would be amazing. I also don't see how they couldn't, and have Kunitake on the board of them. So
Yeah, and that's kind of what I was talking about earlier. I think if Jasmine, like, if they prove themselves and, Kunitake gets them everywhere, which he can because he's got fingers everywhere. Um, yeah, it takes off at that point.
and then Source Next is definitely working with Soracom and many of the other people on the JASMY list as well. So, or the Sony list, Sony / ex Sony JASMY peoples. Yeah,
Well,
if
we'll
anyone's
definitely,
bored,
One
look
of
up Source Next, dig in. It's an interesting company.
yeah, we'll definitely be keeping an eye on it.
the early partner, like this in the old white paper was a French company. It was dealing with the industrial Internet of Things. I found it like 2 years ago, but I lost the name. I must like research about it again. But it was a French company.
LaCroix,
You remember the white paper? The like the
LaCroix.
six strategic.
It might have been,
I
yeah, because LaCroix was dealing with the ESOF things,
yeah, Asoft. Yeah, yeah, I remember. Yeah, it was Asoft. Yeah, it's a French
and they
company.
got sold to Orange,
Yeah,
and Orange is
yeah. There are many partnership, including Line. There is nothing like there is no new update about it.
no. Sometimes I mean, if you go to the Secure PC page on the JASMY website, sometimes they have announcements that aren't on the main page. So
Yeah.
check that, at least once a week and see if there's anything new there. Because I notice the Secure PC page seems to get updated a lot,
Yeah.
and I can probably find a link, but I don't. I got to figure out where I got it. But there's a PDF that's pretty long, and I think I even shared the link somewhere a while ago. Maybe you can look it up on my Twitter or something. But it is the operating manual for the Secure PC version 2, and it's just chock full of information that it's too much to share, and it's a PDF, so it's hard to translate. You can't just run the regular translator over it.
Bro, did you have a time to, because as I told you in my messages, I cannot understand everything in English about the restructuring for Sony. The when the Ministry of Trade in Japan they said they will use the Industrial Competitive Act to restructuring them, and they got approval about that. It was 2 days before the Japanese cabinet approved this act. Did you have a time to see it or I know you are busy.
Well, no, I saw that, and I saw that along like 4 years ago. That was leading up to that, and I thought that that might have
Yeah.
been why Sony had already preemptively spun off Kuzit and maybe Soracom and JASMY and the other, affiliated, Vio. They'd already kind of started to unwind and then reconsolidate the company into the Sony Group company. And I think even recently they sold one of their insurance companies. So I think they had a deadline. I think they're meeting it or trying to.
Yeah.
Yeah, Sony is not, they're a huge company, and so
Yeah.
it's, and they're not just movies and music, as we all know now. They're in everything. So they get sued frequently. They get tied up in different lawsuits, and and some of their biggest issues they've had was data breaches, not just leaking customer information, but also having their own data stolen. And that last huge data breach they had was I think the precursor to JASMY. And I think that's when North Korea hacked their servers.
Yeah. Yeah, most like of the hackers from North Korea like targeting Japan.
I mean, at least that's what the media says, right? They're always from North Korea. So.
Yeah. Maybe one of the Jasmine investors is getting upset.
Oh, that definitely happens.
I actually think in Japan, JASMY's at a pretty comfortable price of 3 cents, and they could ride that 3 cents for as long as they wrote us down at 0.002 and 0.005 in that range, because they need Japanese people to onboard, or this isn't gonna work. And so
Yeah, because if you put like a tax on unrealized gain, the Japanese people they don't want to involve in the crypto. This is why they must like solve this problem.
yeah, and as much as they've said they're going to solve it, they haven't. It's a lot like Joe Biden and marijuana in the U.S., where you know he
Yeah.
ran on that, but he'll never solve it because he needs to keep running on that.
Yeah, you know that the White House just like a proposed have a proposal about also taxing people on unrealized gain also.
That's coming out. Yeah, they put that up there,
Yeah.
which I don't think. I can't imagine that actually passing every house, and I
Yeah.
just can't see that happening because the people who
Yeah,
would lose
especially after
well,
they
the people
pass.
who would lose the most are the people with the most money who make the most unrealized gains.
Yeah.
it's not it's not any regular person who might make a few $100 on a trade, and they don't want to sell their 10 Tesla shares, and they're up a couple $100. I don't really think that's their target. And if Biden thinks he's going to tax the rich people just won't. They'll lobby against it. So I think
Yeah.
it makes him a populist candidate. It sounds good, but I don't think it could ever happen.
Do you think they will veto the law that will allow the regulated financial institution in the United States to have a custody on the crypto? Do you think the White House will veto this?
I think after last week, there's no way. Both
Yeah.
both sides were united on something for once, you know, and
Yeah.
and, and it was pretty resounding too, and it was pretty swift and quick to just kind of chin check Joe and let him know that
Yeah.
that's not you're going to lose everybody at that one. You know?
Yeah, especially like the community of crypto and Twitter is so active. If they veto, imagine that the Japanese is approving the law about allowing venture capital to invest directly in crypto, and then United States just like veto on it. It will be really there is like a big hype will be in Twitter about it.
I think we were talking about it last week a little bit. Not to get too deep into. I don't like to get too deep into politics, even though it absolutely, when it makes sense in this conversation, in this context, for sure. But
Yeah,
yeah, it seemed like there was somewhat of a wealth transfer going from west to east in general right now, where money's leaving the west, whether it's through diluting the dollar or just the markets in general kind of favoring the east coast market, with the pumps and everything, the timing of it and everything. And just seeing that Africans are getting into crypto more than even Americans, I just see a wealth transfer happening where money's going to the east again. And I think that's where, you see China, Russia, Japan, South Korea. I mean, these are big players, Singapore, you know. So infrastructure, I mean, it's just technology. We're lagging, and we're lagging on infrastructure. Then we're going to be lagging on technology too, because the two go hand in hand. Like when the U.S. decides to really invest in its own infrastructure, then technology will have to happen. But if, we see potholes in our streets, probably in everywhere in this country, and or at least where I live, and there's no attempt to solve the problems on the floor, let alone integrate the technology into the public sphere.
yeah, I agree with you. Sometimes something look bad, but it is not because we have a problem in inflation in the United States, and sometimes you transfer money to one of your ally is a good thing because if you transfer money to Japan and Asia, because they are suffering from deflation, so if they have a like a little chance, okay, to recover their life again, and we can maintain also the inflation level because you cannot like say everything is okay now and then you will have the prices go up. So like 3 years or 4 years of trying to decrease the inflation, it will go for nothing.
Absolutely, and when you take into account that most of America's financial success was based on loans from other countries like China and Japan, and at some point we're paying them back, and how we pay them back might be a really weird, creative, not on the surface way that we can all see, but it's something that whether it's the market's still flying through the roof, S&P hitting new highs, who's benefiting from that? Obviously international investment banks are too, and people who loaned us that money. So as the Fed inflates the S&P, other people from other places can still take that money out, and it's just a creative way of transferring the money and keeping all the partners happy. Even
Yeah, I say it in a funny way every month, but I there is like a really like a serious thing about it. I say we must support like China economy, otherwise we don't have underwear. Okay, because they're like all these tiny things that we use it on a daily basis is manufactured by China. So imagine that their economy will collapse. Okay, we don't even produce underwear.
that's real. A lot of countries don't produce almost anything, or at the very least, if they do produce everything, they don't have the raw materials to produce it with on their own. So, in any sense, if anywhere in the planet is in distress, I think the whole planet is in some sense of a distress, but it's not always noticeable everywhere. But the whole global economy being strong is the best solution, in my opinion. you know, Having great trading opportunities. People can trade underwear for copper. you know, whatever they need, you know, like, and hopefully the people in the actual governments can benefit from that trade, and not, you know, just global conglomerates, which, you know, we see everywhere. You know, that's still mostly how it's done. You know, we probably will. I expect to see more countries fighting for their independence from corporations, but I think also corporations have it on lock on how to get in and get resources out. And when you don't deal with them, it can take 20, 30 years and 6 civil wars before it will ever happen. So. But for JASMY to succeed, they're going to need chips, and chips require materials. And so I think the only way that any of this works is if the world is working together. And if the world is not working together, then supply chains will get cut off, and, you know, not everything will be as easy as, you know, one would like. You know.
Yeah, definitely agree with you.
Yeah, that is a good point. All right, I see. Might be time to call it. But Houston, little bid man, it's been an honor being up here with you. Um,
Likewise, man. It was a pleasure to hear you, and thank you so much for all what you did for the community. Thank you so much, man. It is your day, and we really appreciate it that we have you today.
thank you, and I'll be back at it. We're gonna be hard at work.
Hey guys, I just finished up.
Sure.
Are we wrapping up here?
I think so. I think so.
Yeah. Yeah.
All
Good
right.
session. Good to hear your voice, Chionism. And yeah, big up everybody. Thank you for having me.
All right, everybody. This was episode 2 of Jasmine Samurai interviews featuring Jasmine Samurai, aka Chionism from Reddit. And it turned into an open session at the end, which is badass. So, yeah. Until next time, if anybody's interested in being interviewed, feel free to send me a DM and we can set something up. I hope you all have a wonderful rest of your evening and be well. Until next time, hodl that Jasmine.
Thank you, man.
Thank you, guys. Can't wait till number 3.
Yeah.